What's going on, everyone? You're a little low in the phone. Can you speak up a little bit, Creole?
Hold on, is that a little bit better?
If you can speak louder, I have your levels all the way up, but it's a little low.
Okay, I'm doing the best I can. I'm actually driving in the car right now, so bear with me.
Okay, so I know we have some people watching right now. Dr. Crypto, I already see you in the chat. Let us know that the audio is good.
Dr. Crypto.
Okay.
Oh, it's been a long week.
It definitely has. Honestly, I feel like it's been a long 2 months for me. So, so we got 5 watching right now. Welcome, y'all. Happy Friday. I hope y'all are having a good evening thus far, leading into the weekend. So, just to preface here, Creole can hear just a little quiet. Yeah, your levels are a little low, Creole, so
all right, let me play around with it.
Okay, Michael Swain, audio's good from PHX. Audio's good. Okay, cool. Okay, so just to preface, we're going to tell some stories today, right? We're going to keep it a little chill tonight. We're going to talk about some of our experiences that we've had in talking to people who don't know much about Bitcoin, who have certain beliefs about Bitcoin, crypto, and the space, and kind of those conversations that we've had with those people, and kind of how we move in those conversations. And then lastly, I'm going to touch on some NFT minting, something that I found that was really interesting as I was looking at this artist, and I really enjoy her work. I actually came across this this NFT minting, this new company tech that is supposed to be coming out that I think is really interesting. Michael Swain, yeah, up on Creole. So yeah, Creole, let's try to get your audio levels up real quick before we proceed.
Okay, and I might have to call back in. If not, I'm going to have to catch you on the flip side. I will be going live tomorrow. I've got some polka dot news, and I'll also be going live again on Sunday for the Bitcoin weekly close, and I'll be providing some more news and educational series there.
Okay, did you just move the phone closer to you when you talk? When you finished that sentence, you sounded louder.
Okay, I'm just going to talk directly into the phone. I'm off Bluetooth now. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, and just put the phone directly closer to your mouth while you're speaking.
If it's any closer, I'll be eating the phone. So this is as good as it's going to get. I don't know why the volume is doing what it's doing right now. But if it becomes a nuisance, I'll just hop off. Just let me know.
Okay. All right. So Dr. Crypto is saying that we can hear you if you can't do anything. So, okay, we'll just proceed. I'll make sure I keep the music low, and we'll proceed. But of course, so first things first, I want to do a few shout outs here. So I am going to turn the music back up for a little second while I do these shout outs. Okay, so Blaine Falsetto said, keep doing your thing. Alonzo White coming in strong. And this was on the last Friday Crypto Lounge. Thank you for that comment, Blaine. Shah Gans on the last Friday Crypto Lounge asked, can you do a video about Richard Hart projects, Hex and Pulse Chain? So we've been hearing a lot. I guess, I don't know if Pulse Chain, I think maybe that was, a recent project that's been getting a lot of hype. I think some of us are familiar with Hex. I don't know. I've been hearing a lot about Richard, Hex, and Pulse. So that may be something that we look into kind of for
Yeah,
fun.
and Richard, he's been a while. He's been around a while. I remember him making a lot of waves the last bull run, and I believe that Hex. And I didn't look into it for a while, but I believe it was a fork of Ethereum.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, we may
Yeah,
look
we'll
into
look
it some
into it.
more. Yeah, we've heard some interesting things about Richard. I've heard him talk before as well. Seems like a interesting character. But yeah, we'll think about that. So moving forward, some new subscribers. Mark Lamato, Farming by Faith. Thank y'all for joining us. And also a beautiful, gesture here. The Logic Sphere, just a few minutes ago, shared Creole's Edgeware, a multi-chain reality video. What is Edgeware? So highly recommend y'all go back and listen to Creole's video on Edgeware. So Logic Sphere shared this and said, nobody is doing Edgeware content. Salute to this guy. Everyone subscribe to his channel. So if
Thank
the
you. Yeah,
yeah, so if you hear this Logic Fear, much love. We really appreciate that share. And
and
we're
yeah, I
subscribed. Go ahead.
I definitely appreciate that comment because I think a lot of YouTubers right now aren't providing enough content on the Polkadot ecosystem. There's a couple of channels out there, but I'm telling you
Right.
right now, I am neck deep in the Polkadot ecosystem. There's a lot of great things going on, and I'm going to keep bringing you content week after week.
Right. And really, at one point, we were doing like back to back to back Polkadot and Kusama videos. And that's something that we really want to get back to. I think I've expressed this before. Personal life right now, like work life, it's just been totally insane for me over the past couple months. So I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I promise y'all we're gonna come harder with these videos and get back to where we were dropping like uh 4 videos a week. Okay, so it's coming. Thank you for your patience. It is coming. Okay. Okay, and lastly, thank y'all for the thumbs up. Lastly, as y'all see here, of course, I have the Discord pulled up. As I have said and will continue to say, this Discord is awesome. We have a lot of fun in here. We share a lot of information. If you wish that we did more content, we are posting in here just about every single day, multiple times a day.
Yes.
Articles, videos, crypto news. I just added this world news channel. So also don't sleep on this crypto music channel either. I found myself getting hyped this morning to some of these tracks in here. So don't sleep on that crypto
Yeah.
music channel.
And I recently just created a crypto music video playlist on the YouTube channel. So definitely go catch that out. I've got some oldies, crypto music videos for you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. I'll just go to the Bitcoin channel while we talk about this. So, first thing that we wanted to talk about is talking about Bitcoin. Give me one moment here. Let me check my tests. Okay. Okay. So I think probably just about all of us have had an experience where Bitcoin, crypto comes up in a conversation with someone, and perhaps that someone doesn't have a lot of information. They're not very educated on the subject. They may have some hesitations about the space or some preconceived notions about the space. So kind of how do you handle those conversations? So I'm going to first start off with actually a conversation that I had with someone in Austin because as y'all know, Creole and I, we went to Austin for the F Elon tour again, which we had a great time. So that next day I had gone to a cocktail bar and sparked up a conversation with someone, and this person asked, this is how we led into the conversation. This person asked, so what event did you go to yesterday? Because I said I wasn't from around. And I told him I went to a Bitcoin event, right? Because I'm sure personally, I tend to think people won't know what the F Elon tour is, right? Not many people would know that. So I said, I went to a Bitcoin event and it was called the F Elon tour. And so anyway, this person went on to, oh, Bitcoin. Okay, yeah, I've heard about that. And so I asked them, so have you invested? And this person was like, I'm not into gambling.
Wow. Wow.
So that was the first point that came up, right? And so this is how I handled that response. So I was like, you know, yeah, there's definitely some gambling in this space. And I kind of, said people buying Doge right now and kind of these other off the wall cryptocurrencies. Yeah, people would tend to gamble with certain cryptos, but there are, cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin, that is actually an investment, right? It's something that you would hold for the long term and receive, what's the word I'm looking for?
Gains,
Growth.
real, yeah, growth,
Yeah,
gains,
growth.
yes. And not only is it an investment, it's the best investment in human history.
Right, right. But again, one thing that I try to do when I talk to people who I can tell they have not only a very limited understanding of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, I can also tell they have a very limited understanding of investing, in finance, in monetary policy and the financial system, right? So you have to take all of that into consideration when you're having these conversations, right? So you have to bring everything, in my opinion, how I approach it, I bring everything down a notch. So again, I was just like, Bitcoin is actually something that you invest in, right? It's an asset. And so that was one thing that was said. The next thing that this person said, well, I saw the price and I can't buy a full one. So I don't want to buy just a piece of a Bitcoin. So that's why I don't buy. Right. And so we've heard, and again, it's always crazy to hear this in person because we know that we assume that people have these thoughts, but people legit have these thoughts. People are really out here thinking that I can't invest in Bitcoin because a Bitcoin is worth $30,000 and I don't have $30,000 to invest in, right? So we have to get the point across that even $25 can be that stepping stone into starting to invest in Bitcoin. So again, to that point, and again, this is where you try not to go too deep, right? So I was like, yes, a Bitcoin is thousands of dollars, but you can also start accumulating Satoshis, right? And I could tell when I said that, that was almost too much for them to hear, right? Again, you have to understand, even if somebody is 22 or 32, some people don't even understand what accumulate means in this context, right? A lot of people don't know what Satoshis are and that you can earn fractions of a Bitcoin, right? So I had to, again, bring it down a few notches and be like, well, you can just, well, Satoshis are basically fractions of Bitcoin that still have, that still hold value. And so even if you just put $25 in every week, you're still able to invest. And again, trying to get the thought process away from thinking that you have to buy a full Bitcoin. Any thoughts on that,
Right.
Creole?
No, no, you hit it right on the head, and that's a very good point. And I kind of wanted to talk about that too, just about the psychology of having the conversation about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin with other people. When you have a conversation with someone and you start talking about things that they don't know about or using terms that they don't understand, they completely shut off. Completely.
Right.
So there's a couple of points, key points that I have kind of evolved in using throughout the years when trying to explain and talk about Bitcoin with people. Is you ask them questions, okay? You ask them questions that they would know. So if I bring up the topic of Bitcoin and they don't understand, I ask them, well, how do you get paid now? How do you use your money now? Who do you bank with? What happens to that money that's in the bank? And I kind of start with an angle of what they use money for currently, and then I'll kind of work and shift into a position. This is how Bitcoin will be better for you in all of those areas that you use money for now.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so you want to try to keep it on what they know. And one other point I want to make right here, Michelle, and I'll give it back to you, is that what I've learned when talking with Bitcoin to people is that at first, I was so excited about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, I would just completely vomit on people about its use case, its philosophy, the technology,
Right.
even religious implications. But what I've learned is just answer the direct question. If they
Period.
have a specific question about Bitcoin, just answer that one question and don't spew a lot of information on it.
Period. Don't, with people, again, you're going to have to be able to see the type of person you're talking to, right? So if I go, let's just say I go to my grandmother and we start talking about crypto randomly, I'm not going to touch anything about technology, right? If you see somebody in front of you and you know that they're like an analog person, a lot of times you don't even have to get into the tech part of Bitcoin, right? So that's stuff that is down the road conversations that you would have with someone.
Right. And just think about your own personal Bitcoin journey, right?
Right.
We've been studying Bitcoin every single day for the past 3, 4 years, right?
Right.
So it is a complete journey. And when you're talking with people the first time, your goal is just to plant seeds.
That's it.
That's it.
And I think
And
another
they'll come
important,
back to you. And they'll
right.
come back to you when they're ready.
Right. They'll come back. And I think another point is to think about what would get somebody peak interest to the point where that somebody would want to do additional research. If you start talking about, blockchain and trustless and nodes and all that stuff, unless you're talking to a techie person, a coder, X, Y, and Z, the average person is not going to care about the technical side. They're just not. Most people want to know if they can make money. That's
Right.
step 1. Can I make money? Step
Is it
2,
too late? Is it too late to make money?
right. Step 2 is, okay, now what is this technology? Why is it better? What is the ethos behind Bitcoin? Then you start getting into those other questions, right? But this kind of leads into the next thing that this person brought up. They brought up, well, in the past, I haven't really had extra money to make investments, but I have a better job now. So, I could, but I would just need to, look into it more, right? And so, again, I always push this point. Even if it's just $25, okay? If you're sitting in this cocktail bar right now, you have $25 to invest, period. Right? A lot of us, and I get it, I understand there's a portion of people who really don't have that extra bit of money. But again, I'm going to call everybody out ordering Uber Eats. If you're going to cocktail bars, if if you have money to spend, right? So even if it's just 20, and I was telling this person, even if it's just $25 every other week, put it on auto, forget about it, right? You'd waste $25 anyway, right?
Yeah.
So
And yeah,
instead of, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, with that point, and this is how I kind of open people's eyes up to it. Yeah, put $25 a week, okay? $25 a week. 90% of people can afford $25 a week. And if you look historically at the performance of Bitcoin, it averages a 200% increase year over year. So you do $25 a week in a year, that $25 may be $75. So if you kind of frame it like that about Bitcoin's historical performance, it clicks something in the person's head and say, this is the easiest way to multiply my money.
Right. Right. Let me go to the chat real quick. Michael Swain, so true on Dot Creole, 75% off right now. Dr. Crypto, I wonder what the BTC price would be if it was listed on exchanges as sats. I bet significantly more people would buy. Dr. Crypto, know your audience. Yes, it is. Again,
Yes.
is psychology is super interesting, right? It sounds a lot better to say I own 1 million sats or 1 million satoshis versus point zero zero whatever BTC, right? So, I've heard this conversation has actually come up a number of times in the space. Is how can we change the language? At what point does the language change to buying Bitcoin to buying Satoshis? Right? Because at some point, Bitcoin will be $1 million per Bitcoin. Right? Are we going to still be saying, I'm buying Bitcoin? Will the psychology have changed by then? Or will we start speaking in Satoshis? It's really interesting to think about. And moving on, and Dr. Crypto said, I'm so glad Creole talked to me about BTC for the first time. There you go,
Yeah.
Creole.
Yeah. And we all were timid at first, and really, Dr. Crypto, you caught on a lot faster than I did. I mean, I was introduced to Bitcoin in 2013, and it took me 2 years to take it seriously. But the quicker you take it serious, uh, the better your future life will be.
Right. And same with me. The first time, and again, I was in college the first time, and really we could talk about those stories of when we first heard of Bitcoin. But the first time I heard about Bitcoin, I think was 2013. I specifically remember where I was at and who I was with. I'm pretty sure I was in Chicago. And
We were on tour.
we were on tour. And if any of y'all know who CJ Millie is, I remember CJ Millie was in the room. It was some other people in our friend group, and Bitcoin came up. And I just remember thinking that Bitcoin was just this internet money. I thought it was like people like who were into Dungeons and Dragons were like using Bitcoin as some internet money. Had no idea what they were talking about. Didn't had no urge to look into it more. But yep, I think everyone has that story, right? So the next thing I want to talk about in how to talk about Bitcoin is, what about the older generation, right? What about your parents? What about your aunties and your uncles and stuff like that? So for those of you who don't know or haven't made the connection, Creole and I are brother and sister. And so we're going to tell you a little bit about how we were able to get our parents involved in crypto. So, we've definitely talked about crypto and Bitcoin with our parents before. Of course, during this year, it felt more urgent than ever to at least start getting them engaged, right? That's really was the only goal. And
Right.
so basically we were able to, long story short, we were able to convince our parents to give us a sum of money to invest for them, right? And this sum of money was something that they felt comfortable giving to us, right? To invest for them. So that was one thing that we did. Okay. But before that, we had a number of conversations. Like Creole and I would literally schedule, hey, we're going to talk to dad this day at this point and just talk to him about Bitcoin, right? I'm going to talk to mom and mention X, Y, and Z, right? So we had a number of conversations leading up to that moment where they finally gave us some money to invest for them. So that's one. They had skin in the game, okay? But let me tell you part two, which I think is what kept them even more engaged. And to this day, our dad will send us articles on Bitcoin. And let me tell you, this is crazy because he never really had a huge interest in it. But when we told our parents how much money we had in the market, that's what did it. And let me tell you, again, you have to know your parents, you have to know how they move. And I think what happened is our parents are more concerned not so much about the money that they have in the market, but about how much we have in the market and the potential of losing it all. Because right? So just imagine, just think about your parents for a second. I'm going to throw a number out there. Let's say you tell your mom or dad that, hey, I have $750,000 in crypto right now. Do you think that may spark some of their interest?
Just
Do
a
you
little.
just a little? Do you think they may be like, let me look into this. Let me make sure this child doesn't lose this money in Bitcoin X, Y, and Z, right? So again, you kind of have to be able to play that game a little bit. But that's what did it for our parents, is us disclosing how much money we had in crypto. And that is what has kept them super engaged, especially our dad. Any comments,
Right, right.
Lance?
No, no, you're right. Another comment I wanted to mention, Dr. Crypto said this in the comments, is about knowing your audience.
Right.
So, our parents, just for example, our father has worked the same corporate job for what, 36 years. He retired this year. Okay. He had some exposure to the stock market. He had a healthy 401k, but he wasn't too knowledgeable about monetary or fiscal policy. So when we approached our father, we didn't even hit that, right?
Right.
Right? What we did, we said, "Hey, this is the industry you've been working in the past 36 years. This is how blockchain technology is going to flip that industry on its head."
Right.
And once we explained it in terms that he understood, then he had this eye popping moment, this eye opening moment. Oh, now I see how this technology will change the world. Now I see why Bitcoin is so important. And then the articles start coming out about PayPal joining, Visa getting exposure to cryptocurrency. And then he started to see how important Bitcoin was as a payment rail system. And that clicked for him.
Right. And I think another thing, again, knowing your audience, what are your parents thinking about right now? Like, if your parents are in their 50s and 60s, like ours are, what is the one thing on their mind? I'll give you a second to think about it. Retirement. That's okay. Period, point blank. That is all. If your parents are working right now and they're in their 50s and 60s, chances are the only thing that is on their mind is peacefully and comfortably retiring. So again, that's another thing that you have to bring into the equation when you talk to them is, how can I tailor this to them where I'm being sensitive to that? I'm being sensitive to the fact that they're not trying to be out here, get rich or die trying. That's not them anymore, right? They're trying to figure out, okay, I'm closing bills out. I'm, seeing how I can get the kids off of me. I'm seeing how I can just peacefully retire. So again, how can you tailor your conversation around Bitcoin and crypto, maybe ADA, whatever, to that particular audience, right? So going to the chat real quick. Dr. Crypto, lol, you guys don't know how much I needed this episode. My mom is coming to my house tonight. Gonna be a long weekend. Weekend dodging numbers questions. That's crazy. We definitely have some memes. There was one meme that was so good, where it was about when your parents keep asking you how that crypto thing is going.
We'll have to find that.
Right,
But
right. And
but good luck, Dr. Crypto. One thing I found is that with the older generation, especially our parents, they cannot wrap their heads around the financial system changing.
right,
But one thing, if you can convince your parents that Bitcoin can't be turned off, that's the first step. Because once you realize that Bitcoin is unstoppable, then it opens your mind up to the infinite possibilities of the technology.
right. And I also think another interesting point to bring up is 2008, right? A lot of our parents know. I was honestly at that point really too young to fully understand what was going on during that time. But your parents for sure know it takes them back to that time and place and to that feeling of 2008. So that's another interesting connection to make is Bitcoin was birthed out of the 2008 financial crisis, right? That may ring some interest in them of just bringing them back to that moment, and just spark that interest on why Bitcoin is a solution, or the answer to that 2008 that they fully experienced. Because I had a long conversation about that with mom and dad. Dr. Crypto, mom is stuck on the Silk Road mindset thing. That's
Well,
common.
yeah, and another here's another trick that I've been using is, okay, you have this negative viewpoint on crypto. Let's flip it around, and the US dollar is used for more fraudulent activity, more terrorism, more crime than Bitcoin. So anytime somebody points out a flaw in the Bitcoin protocol or the Bitcoin philosophy, flip it right back on them and say, well, what is the dollar doing? What are the banks doing? In
Right.
every category, Bitcoin performs better in every category.
Right. And I think another interesting to remember is that facts fight feelings, right? Like facts will always win. When you pull up a graph of the illicit activity that happens with Bitcoin, we
Which
know
is a
that.
fraction of a percent.
Right, exactly. Data doesn't lie. Facts do not lie. And a lot of people have preconceived notions, right? But when you bring up, okay, here's the data that actually goes against your preconceived notion, here are the facts, here's the data. Again, you can't fight facts.
Right.
Dr. Crypto, chia. It's people, not the coin, right? I wouldn't ask for BTC if I wasn't trying to get paid for a random. I wouldn't ask for BTC if I wasn't trying to get paid for a random. Do you mean ransom?
Yeah, probably so.
Okay.
And I heard Robert Breedlove say this in an interview. Bitcoin is a tool. It's a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use a hammer to kill somebody, right? It's the person behind the tool. So that's another thing, is that people need to see Bitcoin as a tool.
Right. So I think just my ending note, and I'll just mention this super quickly so we don't get off the rails here. Another thing, so how do your conversations go when you're talking to people your own age or of similar age, right? I just always go back to, I guess I just have this mentality of why not just put $25 in every other week. Like I always go back to that, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of us do have that $25 to invest. And again, once you actually get skin in the game, you start to pay closer attention. You start to do more research. You start to ask more questions,
And
right?
it changes your behavior. It changes your spending habits, and it also makes you look forward to the future more and have plans for the future. I mean, Bitcoin really changes your psychology.
Right. Right. Anything else on this topic? before I move forward to the NFT, Creole?
No, that's all I have. And I actually have to jump off. So thanks for allowing me to dial in this episode, Michelle. Most of the time, Michelle, she is selfish for her Crypto Lounge Fridays, but I appreciate it. And again, to the community, I will be live tomorrow. I've got some information about the upcoming Edgeware snapshot for the Kusama parachain. That will be a one-to-one airdrop. And also, I'll be back with you live on Sunday for the Sunday Bitcoin Weekly Close. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Michelle. Appreciate it.
All right.
Peace.
I'll see you. Okay. So last thing, I hope y'all enjoyed that. And would love to hear more about y'all's stories and talking to people about Bitcoin. But moving on to NFTs, as I said, and as you all know, I'm on my art collecting journey. I was looking at an artist and somehow stumbled upon CXIP. So, the title of this article is NFTs Have a Security Problem. New minting platform CXIP is here to help. NFTs represent the most exciting phenomenon to capture the attention of the art world in ages. But ever since they first exploded onto the scene, artists and buyers alike have reported problems with account hacking, plagiarism, and the creation of unauthorized NFT versions of art that pose harm to the original artwork. CXIP, a newly introduced minting platform designed so that users can authenticate their NFTs before listing them for sale, is attempting to fight back against the scourge of inauthentic NFT artwork that's managed to trickle through and affect major auctions. Jeff Gluck, an intellectual property lawyer and the founder of CXIP, is adamant that widespread fraud can be truncated. So super interesting. So Jeff Gluck, he's intellectual property lawyer, and he's bringing up these questions, these concerns, these points that have been in the space, right? These have been questions regarding authenticity, copyright, ownership, X, Y, and Z. There's been many conversations and kind of the gray area that comes with NFTs and digital versions of physical pieces, or, we could talk all day about that. So you could go down the rabbit hole on that. So I thought this was really interesting that this platform is trying to solve that and get rid of the gray area that is in the space. So if we go over to this next article, NFT minting tech provider CXIP announces 1.7 million seed round. Okay, this was article on July 13th. Today, NFT minting technology provider CXIP announced a 1.7 million seed round with participation from several funds and angel investors, including Courtside Ventures, Mechanism Capital, Wave Financial, Arca, G Money NFT, and Larry Warsh. Rather than trying to compete with established players in the NFT space, CXIP Labs creates symbiotic relationships by integrating its universal minting solution with NFT marketplaces and auction houses, Wave Financial said in a statement. Having a minting solution that is standardized across the industry is a crucial step in establishing legitimacy in the NFT space, and it also furthers the ethos of NFTs by giving artists sovereignty over their creations. Lead investors have also joined the CXIP Alliance, an enterprise coalition of artists, creators, collectors, and marketplaces committed to safeguarding and standardizing measures across the NFT space. Founding members include Chief Brand Officer Daniel Arsham, huge name. Okay, like these are some big names right here. Again, that's why this caught my attention. Daniel Arsham, huge name. Lucian Smith, Jen Stark, love her work. Roger Gaston, Futura, and Thank You X. The lack of standardized minting leads to a host of issues, including unclear provenance, smart contract vulnerabilities, counterfeit NFTs, and broken royalties, CXIP said. CXIP is planning API integrations with all major NFT marketplaces. So I saw this and I thought this was super interesting. They're really trying to tackle the legality and gray area in this NFT space, which I have not seen. I have not seen that yet. So I'm definitely going to be following this project closely. Like I said, big names right here. Big names. So definitely looking forward to seeing how they progress. Let's go to the chat real quick, and then we'll log off for the night. Dr. Crypto, wish I would have started sooner. We all do. We all do. I wish I started sooner, and I wish I went harder. I know that for me. BTC breaking out, get some TMI NFTs. I saw he's steadily releasing NFTs. I was looking at that this morning. Up looks like Creole A. All right, y'all. That's all we have for you tonight. As I said, thank y'all for pressing that like button. Y'all are coming in super hard for that like button. Super appreciate that. As I said, we appreciate y'all staying patient with us. We have more content coming. Okay. Life has been life, but the light is at the end of the tunnel. We can't wait to give you all more content. Join the Discord in the meantime. We'd love to have you. Subscribe and have a beautiful weekend.
Turn me inside out, make my heart beat. Need no one else, you're all I need. Personality, everything you do, it's me love, everything about you. Your smile, your style, so fly. You can't deny, I got a crush on you, that's true indeed. I'm digging you, you make me believe. Your love is one in a million. It goes on and on. You give me a really good feeling. Oh, yeah. Your love is one in a million. It goes on and on. You give me a really good feeling all day long. It's not that I don't